Hello, everybody. I was so excited when my godmom asked me to join this year's Memphis Monologue to share my story. So many things have happened in my life that I didn't know what story to choose because it was too much. I wasn't confident if I was ready to share because this is me telling something that broke me at one point with strangers that I did not know. But I also felt like these strangers have become my family today, so why not? The day of my wedding, I had no idea what it was. My dad, whom I hadn't seen for 4 years, had invited me to his house, 4 hours bus drive from where I lived. He even paid for an air ticket for me to fly to where he was. This is a father who did not even want to contribute to my education, and I had not seen him for years. I thought he probably wants to fix our relationship. I was in the university studying accounting, an education he didn't want to contribute to or be a part of, because a woman's place is in the kitchen, a belief that I never was a part of. Since I was not going to relent, or compromise, I began selling used clothes to make sure my school fees were paid. My other bills were paid for on time. I was only 22 and I had so many dreams. Dreams that I did not deserve according to my society, because the culture taught us that it was too much for a woman to ask for education. I flew in that day looking my best. Maybe this is time to convince Daddy that education was good for a woman too. When I arrived, that was my wedding. Everybody was dressed so nice. There were cultural troops. Cooking was going on. My auntie literally had a headgear as huge as a satellite dish. Once I walked in, the drummers increased their sound, and my aunties took me in through the back door so I could get properly dressed for the occasion. I was scared. The first question that came into my mind is my father dead? Because before I went there, all our conversation was by text. So I was not sure what the celebration was all about. Reality dawned on me when one of my aunties said, "Our beautiful bride is in." Then I froze. Wait, what? Then I knew what really was going on. Arranged marriage was no news to me, but I never saw this coming. I had always said it will never happen to me. I was struggling to make ends meet so I can go through school. I knew the rules of this marriage. The more beautiful I was, the more dowry my dad gets. The more educated I was, the more cows he gets. Yes, the education he thought was useless was going to earn him more cows. I had to be a virgin, and damn, I was. Above all the numerous cultural brutalities that I was supposed to experience before the marriage would be complete was female genital mutilation. Cutting off my clitoris so I don't become a hoe when my 75-year-old husband becomes 100 when I am still 35. For them to be sure I was a virgin, in the night after the wedding, the female siblings of my husband, the groom, will confine the bride in a room and insert a tiny egg in my vagina to see if it enters or not. Whilst this was going on, the groom's friends and family would be outside the front door waiting for the good news. Either I was a wife material or not. They would have drinks, drums, and dancing. Records have shown that refusal of these marriages end in 98% death of the brides, as it's usually a long custom where you've been married off even before you were born. More of family ties and commitment. Knowing all this, I pretended to accept the marriage. I went into the room, dressed up. After I dressed up, I told my aunties I needed to use the urinary. When I got into the urinary, that was when my accounting mind started ticking. What was I going to do? I couldn't think of a way out. But when I looked up, I saw a window. Ooh, there I go. I flew right through it outside, left everything I had taken, including my phone. Don't worry, it wasn't no good phone. I went back to school and hid myself to prevent me from this arranged marriage. That night, I called my German friend. He had asked me out for almost 3 years. I wasn't really the man kind of girl, so I never agreed. But I called him and I said, meet me at the hotel. I needed to break my virginity. A call I never regretted making, as it resulted in me having a beautiful daughter. I never physically saw my dad again until he passed in 2017. You would think this is the worst experience that I had had to escape, but no, it wasn't. Living in a society where homosexuality was by law a misdemeanor, punishable by 2 years imprisonment, made life more complicated for people like me to find anything called love. Finally, I found my ex in 2016, and we lived together as friends to the public, but lovers behind closed doors. Unfortunately, our doors were not closed enough. On my birthday, we were attacked by 5 anti-gay men. We were beaten till we were near unconscious. We were locked up in my house, and the house was set on fire. It only took a miracle for me to be here today. And I lost my partner to the fire, as she was too weak to escape. I was too weak to carry her with me. I was on the run for my life once again. I went through 10 countries alone, with no passport, no emotional support, mental bruises, physical bruises. Through South Africa, Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Panama. Panama was the worst nightmare, as I went through the Darien Gap. I do not know if you've ever heard what the Darien Gap is. If you've not, it's one of the world's most dangerous jungles. I got lost alone in it for 8 days, with no food, no water, and not knowing even the direction I was going. I went through Costa Rica, El Salvador, Nicaragua was another hectic place to cross. Having to cross through the Pacific Ocean in the middle of the night on a speedboat that was supposed to carry 8 people. We were 32 in the boat with no life jackets. The boat got in the middle of the river, or the sea, or ocean, and almost drowned all of us. The first batch of people who went all died. Then through Guatemala, Mexico, and now I'm here. I'm extremely grateful for the wonderful people who took me into their homes and treated me not as a stranger, but as their own. Because coming here, I did not know anybody. I did not have friends, no family, no support. Time will not allow me to mention all the names of the people who have loved on me. Lisa in Clarksville, Miss Doreen, Miss Blights and Catherine, my Californian mothers. Miss Oni Jones, he's right there in the audience. Miss Rena, Jonathan, and my sweet mom, who calls me her friend, Miss Laura Goodman Bryan. Just for your information, she pulled me up here tonight. Thank you all so much for being amazing and for allowing God to use you to be a blessing on my life. Miss Laura, I love you and I appreciate you to the moon and back. Even though life has been fun for me, it has not been fun for me. I refuse to be hateful. I refuse to be pitiful. I refuse to compromise and to allow life experience to make me a shadow of myself. I refuse to be labeled as the young lady who had to stop school to get married away in a forced marriage. I refuse to be the lady who had the female genital mutilation just to please her culture. I refuse to be pushed by society to be with a partner that I will live to hate. So next time, when life decides to bring your way horrific experiences, tell life your name and let life understand that you are strong enough for any life challenges, believing in yourself and always knowing that even if you've not heard other people's stories, you are not alone. My name is Wendi Kujori. Thank you.